Hello. Tonight's episode of The Disruptors is brought to you by Disruption Theatre.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Disruptors podcast.
Welcome. This is the second one.
This is the second one. This is the first time we actually said welcome back.
And mean it, yeah. It's good. It's nice.
That's what we meant?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just make sure we're on the topic. I'm your host, Sebastian Pratt, alongside my other host,
Henry.
Your other host.
Right,
and today we have a special guest. Say your name.
Eloise.
What do you do? What do you do, Eloise?
Discuss your role in the production. We've done this earlier, but now it's your turn.
I am the choreographer for the production of Mosaic.
Excellent. So the dancing, that's all your role? That's your job?
Yeah.
Excellent.
And what does that entail? What do you do? What's the story?
So as choreographer, I have been sort of involved in creating the dancing for the production. A lot of it is contemporary based because of the style of the production. Hoping to create and bring more hip hop, sort of other styles to incorporate other people's genres.
Yeah, okay. So it was like choosing that, these pieces are going to be contemporary. Was that your decision or was that the scene director's?
It was aided in my decision in that that's the style I generally go to choreograph, but it has been aided from the scene directors and everything like that because that's just how it's sort of going towards that style.
Yeah, okay, cool. It's a little bit difficult, I imagine, that you have scene directors who don't know a lot about dancing and they come to try and give their opinion. You're like, well,
actually, I know how to dance.
Do you? I'm the
Stop
dancer.
talking to me.
I do the nut bush.
Yeah, I know the Macarena.
I know the Shark Tale dance.
A good movie.
It is a good movie. No
do you have a lot of clashes with the scene directors or like artistic directors with dancing?
Not yet. I'm waiting.
I love to see. Yeah,
Wait and see. But at the moment, it's all pretty okay. I think mostly because it is a style that I understand. If it was something that I was a bit not too sure of, there could be more clashes because there'd be more on my shoulders to get the style together.
And you're not as sure about that style as you are with contemporary.
Seeing as it's
that
a
makes
style
sense.
that I'm really comfortable with, it sort of just comes out naturally. So
What is there a style you not hate, but you're like, man, I never want to do this style of dancing?
look, hate's a strong word. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's what I'm not hate. All right, just for listeners at home, not hate.
But
what do you what you're like? You see, you're like, probably like a famous dance or a famous sort of type of dance. And you're like, I stick with that. No, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it.
I think for something I've pretty much learned every style, but for something that I'm not too keen of is like ballroom. Okay. As lovely as it is, it just somehow I just don't get it. But it's the same with like hip hop. I love the style and I can dance the style, but ask me to choreograph it, we're talking about a different thing now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So how many dancers you included are there in the cast that you're working with at the moment?
There's a set sort of group of 4, including myself, and we're trying to bring others in to do a hip hop piece.
Right.
But the main people that are specifically wanting to do dance are 3 plus me.
Yeah.
So 4.
Right.
Okay. And so you currently helping choreograph a hip hop scene, despite you not wanting to or not feeling too good about it. Is there other people there that you're kind of relying on who might have more experience or prefer to help with it?
Yeah, definitely. So we're hoping to get someone else in to be able to help with the ideas and everything for the hip hop piece. I think the plan initially was it for like a nightclub sort of scene, but with that sort of not quite going ahead, we're sort of changing the ideas a little bit. So I think to have other people's opinions and like advice will really help. There's 2 people who are like sort of 2 main dancers in the piece. One is like a jazz sort of dancer, like K-pop, and then the other one has a lot more jazz funk abilities. So I think with them 2 having more focus on that style, I think that was sort of the main reason we wanted to incorporate something different, because if the pieces are all contemporary, I don't want them to feel left out because they're not showcasing their own style.
Yeah, sort of give them their own like artistic freedom in a way.
Yeah. And
that's cool.
Especially with the piece, we're hoping to collaborate a lot more and do it together, choreograph it together Whereas the other pieces that we've done, it's me choreographed and teaching them, but we want to bring out some of their choreographic abilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you dance professionally, Henry?
I don't dance ever. So I actually, there's a video that we dug up the other day, Eloise, and I was shuffling. I think
You were shuffling.
and crumping a bit to the
And a bit of twerking.
Right, yeah, a little
right at
bit
the
of twerking,
right at the
yeah.
end, a bit of artistic
If
twerking.
we find that video, we can post it for the fans as well.
You want to post it?
We can post that.
Yeah,
Like,
I think you should post it.
You want that
It
out there,
was
do
the
you?
Rugrats theme music.
Yeah, it's.
I was actually getting quite into it. I was like, man, I remember being that happy. What happened? Oh,
Yeah.
COVID-19.
when I am feeling down and I'm missing everyone in this situation, I look at the video and I'm like, I miss Henry so much. But this is probably the best video I have of Henry, and it's him crumping.
There's a few videos of me on your phone. I'm pretty sure.
There's so many videos of you, but that is my favorite. I've never danced before.
Yeah, tell me about your dancing experience.
Oh well. My
Good chat.
good chat. My first time I ever danced on stage was my first ever musical, and they gave me the role of Cupid, and they said,
Okay.
"Put on this tutu. Here's a bow and arrow. Go out on stage.
Just start shooting people.
Make it look. Yeah, shoot people. Pull out a gun instead.
Oh no, they're
Modern love." And they said, "Make it look whimsical." And I was in year 8.
So firstly, you looked up the word whimsical.
I didn't have internet. I didn't have a phone back then.
Okay.
So I was just like, what does whimsical mean? So I was like, all right, I'm just going to jump around on stage. And so I did like gallops. I galloped around on stage, as really as it sounds. I threw in a couple of twirls, and I'd very lightly shoot an arrow at them because I wasn't supposed to.
Oh, right.
Because it's wooden arrow.
Right. So whimsical means horse-like.
Yeah.
In your life.
And fancy.
Okay, I like that.
So that's the most experience I've ever had. And in primary school, we actually did do ballroom dancing and square dancing,
Okay.
which I did love.
Was that footsteps?
Yeah,
Was it called?
So, we were pretty impoverished. We were out in the middle of we were a very small primary school.
Okay.
Surrounded by paddocks.
School?
This is in Mount Gambier,
Okay, yeah,
where I'm from. So you Adelaide people wouldn't know.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, we had electricity here.
Yeah, we didn't even know words back then. But
Whimsical
a
what?
very small school. There's only 8 other students in my year level.
Oh, wow.
The
Yeah.
entire time, surrounded by paddocks, and they'd be like, "All right, we're going to walk down to the hall," and that's where we'd have our old timey square dancing with.
You have the big bells where you have to pull the string and get them going.
Yeah, to raise everything.
At the third
We
bell
did-
chime,
our,
dance.
Our teacher was like, "Howdy, y'all." She put on a character. I'm like, "This is amazing," and I wasn't good, but I love doing it.
It's like the Australian rural magic school bus.
Absolutely, definitely.
But it's the hole with the bell.
Yeah, and now the only dancing I ever do is when I've had one too many Jaeger bombs, and the dance floor's calling to me, and I'm like, that dance floor is severely lacking a Seb.
No, I can do something.
But then someone with a name tag that says Seb, I'm like, lacking a cool Seb,
The other set.
the other cool Seb. We better get back on track.
Eloise, tell us about your background. You probably have a bit more than us. You don't have the
just a tad, maybe.
the rural Australia.
Not the ballroom, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I can
no.
probably out dance you there.
So I have been dancing ever since I was 3. So what's over
3 years old?
over 15 years
I
old.
don't think I ever walked on a story.
I think I
Over
talked since I
15
was
years
5.
of dance experience. Initially, I started with tap dance, wasn't too fond of it, and then went to ballet, and that's sort of what I stick to.
What age did you go to ballet?
I went to ballet at 4.
Okay, just a year of
Okay.
tap dancing.
Yeah, no.
So you
Look,
decided
Look, I
at
think
3,
it was.
like, you
I
know,
think partially, I wasn't there for tap.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but then
But you
yeah,
were
I went
3
to
years
I
old.
went to ballet. Yeah,
I could at 3 years old. I could not decide whether to have jam or peanut butter for breakfast.
Have both. You just,
Yeah,
Exactly.
both,
Well, that was
yeah.
the decision, but it was by lunchtime. I'm like, goo goo gaga. And that's all I said. And here you are going,
Eloise like dance.
tap is not for me. Ballet.
yeah. So yeah, I went to ballet, and I did that for a good probably 6-7 years, and that was sort of my main focus. And then decided, no, I want to do something else. So I started doing jazz again, and I ended up doing ballet, jazz, tap, sort of every style you could think of at the time. And then I was like, still just like ballet. So I
Yeah.
went back then, just did ballet.
Okay, yeah. Sort of test the water somewhere else. Like, nah, let's go back to the
Yeah.
pond.
You know what?
Yeah.
The home pond.
Back to my roots.
So I did ballet for ages, and then I think the peak for me was when I got point shoes. That was really like, I really like this.
Yeah. You invested into it, sort of thing.
Yeah. And then I was like, my dance teacher was sort of like, I think you need to do more. If you're wanting this more to go further, you're going to have to do more than just ballet. And at that time, I was like, look, puberty's hit. We're not getting any taller.
You're like, every year, you're like, 160 centimeters.
I'm pretty sure puberty hit when you were 4.
At just over 5'4", I was like, ballet's probably not going to be the main thing I'm going to be able to strive for.
Are most ballet dancers taller? I don't know.
They're
Does-
about
does it matter?
5'4", 5'5",
Okay.
sort of thing. And mostly so you can be partnered with like a male dancer.
Okay.
Um,
They can pick you up.
Yeah, and it looks relatively
It
equal.
looks like he's not carrying a child.
Rather
Yeah.
than my head's at their neck and it just
Right.
doesn't quite work. So then I branched off and went into like jazz again, and I really started to enjoy that. And then I went into tap again because I was sort of doing that at home, and I was just like, you know what, just do it.
Yeah. Does jazz have those like you have to be this tall to?
No,
to dance.
it's a bit more free for
Okay,
the height
cool.
sort of thing. Ballet is very structured, so it's very sort of be this height, be this size,
Or get out of here.
get out of here, basically.
If you're short, shove off.
Come back to
Yeah.
tap.
Go back to your
Come
rule
back
of
to the ballroom.
And then did contemporary as well and started to really enjoy that. And then once I got to like year 12 and that, I was doing say stance. So I was doing it for like year 12 and everything. And that's when I was like, you know what? I actually really enjoy this.
Yeah.
And I did it like an accelerated subject. So dance, I did it when I was in year 11. And I was like, I enjoy this. And we started to bring out more styles. So I was doing jazz, contemporary. I did a bit of ballet. And then we did like a Broadway jazz sort of number, like a musical theatre sort of thing. I was like, I actually really enjoy this. Besides the fact I can't sing at all. But I enjoyed the style of dance a lot. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is good. But I was like sort of still not quite unsure of what I was doing. Still did dance year 12 and then went into my first year of uni and decided I don't know if I want to just do uni. I think I want to try and go further.
Yeah.
So that's when I auditioned for Jason Coleman's Ministry of Dance in Melbourne and was successful.
Sweet.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Great work.
so went over there and sort of did dance. Besides the fact I injured myself and came home, I still managed to go back 2 years later and keep pushing and keep doing. So I'm really, really proud of that effort, and that is ultimately sort of got me to where I am today. Although I'm not still there due to injuries and everything else like that, it made me open my eyes to teaching and everything else and what styles there are to offer, because we were trained in everything. We did ballet, we did contemporary, jazz, commercial jazz, hip hop. We even did like heels class and everything, Latin. So there was so much
that's a lot.
variation and style that I think ultimately helped me to become the dancer that I am today. And with that, I was able to go on that Australia's Got Talent. I did lots of gigs. I did a gig last year at the Grand Prix in Melbourne. So I think that sort of, I think that just really helped me realise that I really love dance and I want to have that in my life.
I guess with all those,
great.
like you start off with your ballet, then tap, then ballet, and you just like go through all these things. When you hit that wall, and you're like, "Is this for me?" And like you have to take a second. And you're like, "You know what? It is." And you like smash through that.
Yeah.
And if you have injuries, you're like, "No, I'm going to push through this." And you keep pushing. You're like, "This is my life. This is dance. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life."
Yeah.
I feel like that when you like realize that about just anything, it's like, "Oh, we got there. And I'm going to do this the rest of my life."
That sounds great.
Absolutely. I think that, the first sort of real injury I had, I tore the ligaments in the right side of my ankle. So that was sort of a moment of, okay, like this happens. And although I didn't do it at dance, I may have done it at bounce.
Great place.
Yeah,
great place.
absolutely great place. I'm not dissing it at all. And then from that, I started realizing that I had a hip injury. And when I was told that I probably shouldn't dance again, I was like, nah, I'm not having that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had hip surgery. I did all that. trained back again for the next year, and I went back for it. Yeah, it didn't quite work out with another injury, but I'm still so glad, and I think that really made me realise that I gave it my all.
Yeah, gave it 100%. You're proud of that.
Yeah, at least you can look maybe like, all right, I gave everything I could have. There's nothing else.
I could have stopped when I did, but I didn't.
Yeah,
I kept striving.
That's great.
I can imagine you in the doctor's room and it's like, you shouldn't do it. It's like, you shouldn't doctor.
Yeah, that's exactly what I felt like.
Go away.
I was 3 years old.
I switched from tap to ballet. It's like,
I'm back and I'm I wasn't a doctor at 3. You're like, yeah, shut up.
Yeah, idiot. Come back to private school, dum-dum.
I want to talk about, we posted obviously, if you follow the Facebook page, you at home.
Yeah, you guys, not me. I do. You should too.
If you do, you would have seen Eloise's like a small little teaser
little
trailer.
bio.
I want to ask you, what do you miss throughout this quarantine? Because I know you're at home dancing and you're all on Zoom and it's great that we're all still connected. But what do you miss really? Like what's the biggest thing you've missed during this?
I think the main thing I miss is the social contact with dancing and especially teaching. It's so incredibly difficult to teach online, but then to be able to go and luckily now be able to go and be in a group of a small amount of people to teach the choreography, but not be able to touch them to say, no, I want your leg to be this way.
Yeah,
or something.
that's a big thing.
That's really difficult because you're trying to show it, but it's like, you just want to be like, just move here.
Yeah.
But you just can't. You can't.
You get those really long, meter
Those
rulers,
really
and you're
long
like,
finger
move your arm, you're like, walk around.
Maybe I should.
Tore their ligaments with that.
But yeah, I think that's a main thing that's really been difficult. And now we're wanting to do the hip hop piece. We're wanting it as a group number, and I think that's going to prove difficulties when we stage it because technically we should be 1.5 meters away from each other.
Yeah.
So if there's say 6 people on stage, how are we going to make it work to have equal amount of different distance between each and every
All the
person?
time as well.
And then still make it look cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna look cool anyway.
Tap dance. That's the answer.
Every time someone screws up, you just, I was 3. That's like the go-to line.
We're gonna hear it from the one theater to the dancer theater. All you can hear is, "I was 3."
Yeah. How long?
Something's going on.
I was 4. Nothing to me.
You mean nothing.
That's really cool though. Like it probably sounds a bit fake because we're learning all this at the same time as the listeners.
Yeah.
So like when you're talking about your past, I'm like, wow, there's so much dancing.
Yeah.
I think I've done anything in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Legit.
Yeah, I think through high school it was sort of dance was my main focus. I realised that I really enjoyed this and I didn't care to really go out with other sort of like I'd socialise with my friends and that, but I was like, I don't want to miss out on going to dance class and everything. Like that was a really important part to me. So,
are there any big inspirations out there for your dancing career, or is it just like, you know what, I'm number 1 now? I was 3.
look, we always strive to be number 1, but I think a lot of it, like watching like So You Think You Can Dance when I was little, really helped. And there was a girl on there, Maddie, who did a contemporary and a ballet piece together. So she wore point shoes and like was rolling on the floor as well. And that's very like an unconventional sort of dance piece. And that was like, well, like I can still do something with this. Like, so that was really cool. And then there's another guy, Michael, who was on, I think the last season of So You Think You Can Dance in Australia. He's gone off into like America and everything. And he is insane. Yeah. He has like acrobatic skills and like contemporary is amazing. So I think when I saw them too, I was like, this is amazing. This made me want to, like, they both, I think, trained at like Brent Street in Sydney, but that made me realise that I was like, you can do more than just sort of your dance school in your hometown sort of thing. You can go further, strive for it. If you want something, go for it.
Yeah. That's really
amazing.
Cool. Yeah, it's really inspirational.
That's a great inspirational quote.
Like, Kenny Crump, like me.
But did he start at 3?
He probably started early.
He probably started like 2 or something.
Stuck with tap.
He was in his mum, just like
It was like, oh, dude, he's kicking again. Doing the nut bush. We're back to the nut bush, baby.
It's a full round circle.
Yeah,
the nut bush always comes back.
Like dancing. Yeah.
I mean, I love the circles. It's a big dance.
But yeah, so I think we've hit our 20-minute time limit. We've hit exactly 20.
Oh,
that's amazing.
We're great.
We're just that good.
Before we do go, I want to introduce another special guest.
Oh, we do. Yes,
Eugene the Duck.
Eugene the Duck.
He's shy.
For our audio listeners, Eugene's a little shy.
Is
We're sorry
is
about
green duck. We'll post pictures.
that. Yeah, you'll probably see him on
It's very handsome.
Tinder or something. He's pretty lonely at the moment. Yeah, he's a player. So, Eloise, thank you for coming on and talking about your background and then how you're bringing that into the production. That was really great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, honestly, when we saw your audition as a group, me and so we're like, wow, this is crazy. This is ridiculously cool.
This is someone who started dancing at 3.
She probably
I thought that exact thought, and I was like,
the
"Man, shut
second
up."
she was up there, I'm like, man, 3 years old, she danced. I know it.
I said,
feel
Dave,
it.
she's pretty mature for a 3-year-old.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming
Yeah.
on. Thanks
Thank
for being
you
on
for having me.
our first guest.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations. That's first and last. I'm being shut down.
We can't get better than this, guys.
This is our peak. All right. Thank you for watching or listening or both, whatever you decide
If
to
you
do.
do both, thank you. so
Yeah,
much.
do both. It's great. Good on you. We'll see you again next time for episode 3 of The Disruptors.
Thank you. Goodbye.